Hey guys, it's the Gundam Boy, and today we're going to talk about the Entrenched Division Warbond, and let me just say, this thing is a crazy Warbond, but we have quite a lot of items to take a look at today, so let's get straight into it. On the first page, we have the Stroker, the Entrenchment tool, and the medium armor, the Sapper set. And on the second page, we have the light armor, the Giga Nade, and the gas motor. Then the last page has the Cremator and the P69 Veto. Then on the Super Store, we have the Bulwark heavy armor, where you can also buy the Sweeper shotgun. Let's take a quick look at the armor passive, with the light armor being concussive padding and hazmat, which is a mix of armor passives that we've received in the past. Provides 50 resistance to explosive damage, provides 25 resistance against gas and gas effects, and then we have sidearm recoil reduced by 30. For the medium armor set, it is a different passive, concussive padding and grenadier, which provides 50 resistance to explosive damage, but increases the initial inventory of your holding capacity of throwables by 2. And one of the tankiest armors, the Bulwark, which has concussive, padding, and reinforced, which has 50 resistance to explosive damage, but provides a higher armor rate. I decided to talk about these armor passives first because they're all things that we've seen before. However, that's not a bad thing with these armor sets because they actually have some utility. Looking at you, Siege Breakers. But why don't we check out the weapons? So starting off with the SMG/Flame 34 Stroker, I'm gonna keep calling that, has a damage of 130, a capacity of 45, a recoil of 9, and a fire rate of 420, which it has light armor pen, one-handed, and it's incendiary. Looking at its attachments, it has your usual optics, muzzles, and magazines, with a drum mag being unlocked at level 24. Taking a look at it in-game, you can swap very easily between flame mode and your normal bullets, with the maximum range of the flamethrower hitting around 15 meters. If you're familiar with something like the Defender SMG, that's exactly how this SMG feels to play, at least with its bullets. But when you can swap the flames on a moment's notice, this allows for a new level of flexibility when you're fighting in the field. Fire for the chaff and bullets for the bigger units. And while you can use the flamer for the heavier units, it's like trying to shove a cow in a microwave. Not the best for killing them, but if you really need to take on a heavy, you could. And because it is a SMG, it is one-handed, allowing you to carry those damn black boxes on those missions. Or you can even pair with something like Ballistic Shield. I have to say, this is one of the more flexible SMGs, allowing you to hit everything, and it just feels so good to shoot. Then we have the Broomstick Shotgun, the Sweeper. Has a damage of 504, capacity of 7, recoil of 76, and a fire rate of 150. It's medium armor, and it's round reload. And it has a fair amount of attachments, which I don't know why it needs optics, but it does. But it also has a variety of muzzles, from half choke, full choke, and even duckbill. Kurt Cobain POV. I'm sure a lot of us was worried that this would be just your typical shotgun, which it is. But it hits fast, and it can hit hard. But unlike the rest of its pump action family, this thing has slam fire, allowing you to rapidly follow up shot after shot after shot on enemies. And when you utilize it in close proximity to enemies, this shotgun can absolutely devastate them. But with that little butter knife at the end of your shotgun, you can still defend yourself even if you haven't reloaded. But since the shotgun only has 7 rounds in the tube, you need to manage your ammo very carefully. But we got a pretty strong shotgun overall. As long as you can close in your distance, you can do some pretty good damage. Don't... What'd you say? Taking a look at the P69 Veto, it has a damage of 105, a capacity of 12, and a recoil of 30, with a fire rate of 750. It has medium armor pen, one-handed, and round reload. At first glance, you'd probably assume that this is a worse version of the Verdict. However, it does fire jet-assisted rounds, meaning damage fall-off is non-existent for it, which means we have our bolter pistol, boys! Brother! So it has 12 rounds in its magazine, but it is reloaded via stripper clip, taking 2 of them to reload fully. And I don't know what it is about watching this reload, but I feel like I could watch it all day. Oh. But there's not too much to really talk about it outside of the fact that it's a jet-assisted version of the Verdict. But it means that you are able to engage with enemies without that damage fall-off at longer ranges. Back up, everybody. Hold up. Make some space. Fat grenade coming through. We got the Giga Nade coming in. What if we had thermite, but it went off immediately instead of bouncing off the enemy and doing nothing? Well, you would have the Giga Nade, which has a damage of 2,000, penetration of 5, and an outer radius of 12. And when I say this grenade is fat, I mean it. This thing flies like a brick. So similar to the Ultimatum, watch your distance when you're throwing this grenade. It has a lot of weight on it, which can make it challenging to land perfect throws. But when you land that nade, they're going to be absolutely gone. One of the bigger drawbacks to the grenade, though, is that you only get 2 of them. And every resupply only gives you 1 back. So either you're saving it for when the enemy numbers get too big, or you're saving it specifically to kill a heavy. But with the power of servo assisted, you can match any football player and throw even further, ignoring a major problem with the grenade, being its weight. But I gotta say, throwing this thing at a charger when it's coming at you is a beautiful scene. However, against something like a Battle Titan, I did find that it took like 2 throws to the face directly to kill it, but that probably has to do with the fact that the grenade's all explosive damage. And then we have the shovel. I fucking love this thing. I even got stuck earlier and I was able to dig myself out. The entrenchment tool is perfect for digging into your base and setting up mortars to allow them to fire without having to worry about them getting hit in return, acting as natural cover, allowing you to hold the line with the sentries. We literally became a mortar crew and we were just holding down the fort. I mean, like, listen to this. Listen to the artillery we're firing. Layer that with the fact that you can ping out targets to make the mortars focus them makes it even much more powerful. But using the entrenchment tool, you can absolutely give them the defense you need, or even give yourself cover. But otherwise, it is really just a shovel. A really fun shovel. Oh, and we can't forget about our favorite gas motor. Finally, another motor to add to my loadout, which is pretty straightforward. It's a motor that fires gas. However, it is a pretty slow firing motor, at least in comparison to other motor sentries. His ammo's blue, which could be great to have hiding somewhere around the enemy base while your teammates are pushing in, giving you a bit of support when you guys are fighting on the field without nuking your teammates. Basically a safer version of the motor sentry. And if you ping enemy targets, it can even lock on at far ranges, which was something that I didn't know these motors could do, allowing you to get support at extended ranges, completely gassing enemies out. Mind you, I was over here when I placed the motor, and the top left is where the charger is. Let's talk about a weapon that really stole the show, the cremator. I think everybody was worried initially that this thing was gonna be mid, but unfortunately for those doomers, this thing is actually really powerful. And with a fuel tank of 500, you can fire it for a long time. I don't have enough air in my lungs to do this. It doesn't just have a lot of fire packed into this thing, it also has a lot of firepower. Because when I faced off with the behemoth charger, it died so fast that I actually did a double take. They made this flamer absolutely cleave into the enemies of democracy, which was made even better by me and my team bringing it all together and just absolutely having a pissing match with harvesters, taking them down like it's nothing. And while I haven't fully tested it, I do definitely feel a difference with how far this flamer can reach, as it feels like I can hit enemies at an extended range. And another addition to fire is that the enemies actually respond to being lit on fire. You can go the other way, thank you. Thank you, Flesh Blob. Similar to the sterilizer, hitting the enemies with fire now will make them basically freak out. Long are the days from the enemies just charging through their fire unfazed. Now you can actually do something as a flamer. Power of grunt fantasy and teamwork, bro. Cooperative play.
Look at this grunt fantasy right here.
This is a grunt fantasy.
Now remember the game, this is a solo game you play with friends, right? Like, this is a team game. No.
What team play, bro? I just see a charger exploding viciously.
Dead ass.
Chunkified.
He's like
every part of him is exploded.
It's like putting the roach in the microwave. And unlike the other flamers in the game, this one actually puts the control in crowd control, making it a very useful tool for defending the bastion tank from all directions, as this flamethrower is heavily a counter chaff weapon, being able to absolutely sweep enemy units with just a bit of fire. But it ain't no pushover going up against heavy units like factory striders, because all you have to do is hit them in that tummy and watch them explode. One of the weirdest encounters that I faced using this weapon was being able to shoot out the treads with the flamethrower. I just melted all the bolts right off. Going up against the behemoth charger, it took me around 9 seconds to completely roast him thoroughly.
Getting destroyed. I think he's dead, dude. Yeah, he's dead.
There he is. Overall, I'd have to say, this is probably one of the greatest warbonds I've touched in a hot minute. The drip is immaculate, the weapons feel good and powerful, and finally, we have a backpack-fed weapon that doesn't feel weird to use. And we also got that beautiful shovel. And I don't usually do rankings, but if I was a ranking guy, I would say this is a S-tier warbond. But that is the end of my video. I will see you guys next time, as I will be covering the weapons more specifically in their own videos. So, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.